Hello everyone, Namaste. How are you all? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you eagerly waiting for your English class? Great. I'm here to read something, discuss something in English of grade 8. Okay? Are you ready for this? Good. Now, in class 8 English, we are doing which unit? Second. Okay. In second unit, in last class, we read the first reading and then we did grammar and some other activities. Now, in our today's lesson, we'll focus on these contents. See, writing 1, that is on page number 20 of your book. Okay. And then we will leave reading second now and do listening, that is on page number 22 of your book. Okay. So, we will do today writing first and listening. In writing first, we do stories. We will try writing stories, short stories. Okay. And in listening, we will listen to a conversation, and based on the conversation, there are some questions or let's say statements. We'll try writing true or false. Identify the statements, and then next we will write answer, short answer to the questions given in your book. Okay, are you ready for this? Good. Okay, now whatever you need for this, for writing and listening, keep everything ready with you and sit comfortably. Okay, good. You may need pencil to mark something or pen to write. Ready? Good. Okay, without delay, let's start with writing 1. Well, now in writing 1, what is there? Task A. Develop a story based on the outlines given below. Write a suitable title too. Okay. Now you should write a story. There is guideline given or outline given. Is it given in your book? Yes. Okay. Now, quickly read this outline, read these sentences, half complete sentences, and identify the concept of the story, how story develops there. Okay. Let's read. A poor shoemaker and his wife live in a small house, has tough days to earn his daily bread, always dream of living happily, runs out of money, has a piece of leather to sew shoes, gets off in the morning and finds fine pairs of shoes, gets surprised and sells them in the market, buys more leather, cuts it out to make more pairs and lives on his work table, finds many pairs there, sells them and becomes rich, continues for some weeks, buys a beautiful house, comes to know about the elves helping them, pairs of beautiful shoes for them, elves never come back again. Now, after reading it, one concept of a story might have come to your mind. Has it come to your mind? Yes. Okay. Now you should write. Can you? Well, now before you start writing, I'll make it easy. Okay. I'll give you some guidelines and make it easy for you. Okay. Now concentrate here what you should do in the beginning. Okay. Here are some guidelines to write a story. Okay. First, write a suitable title on the top of a page of paper. Okay. When you start writing, if you have page, okay, in your exercise book, in the top you can write title, okay, on the top, in the middle, and start the story with once upon a time or long ago. Well, this way, some expressions, okay, once, that way you can write a story, because stories are based on what happened in the past. So generally, may not be always, okay, generally you can start with a once upon a time or a once or long ago, that way, okay. Well, similarly, next thing you should do is introduce the character, who the characters are in the story. For example, once upon a time there was an old man in a village, character, okay. Once upon a time there was a beautiful girl, character. Introduce, start with character. Or once upon a time there was an old man in a village, he had 3 sons. If you start with this, what is there? Old man, sons, all are there. So introduce the characters, okay. Similarly, D, introduce the setting. Setting means what is the context there. For example, once upon a time there was an old man in a village. Now what is the setting? He was poor, he was hardworking, he used to live in a small hut. So this setting, isn't it? So describe the context of the story, okay. Well, so that is setting. In which context this story is taking place, okay. Well, for example, another example can be, once upon a time there was a girl, she was beautiful, okay, but she was proud of her beauty. So this thing. Now E, describe the special characteristics of the character. Well, characteristics means it's the same here. Setting, they used to live in a village, maybe setting, okay. Once upon a time there was a man, character. Setting, they used to live in a poor house in the village. And special characteristics, they were hardworking, the people were hardworking, or the old man was hardworking, okay. Well, or the boys were lazy, the girls were lazy. So this is what their characteristics, okay. Well, if you are telling story of a lion, well, the lion was proud of its strength, power, that is characteristics. Now F, describe the main plot of the story. Now when you start the main plot, you can start maybe with one day, that way, okay. One day it came to a forest, okay, where there was no person, no other animals. Now that is what, one day, there is situation, conflict is there, situation in which the person finds in trouble, or the animal finds itself in trouble. Well, so this is conflict climax resolution means here, okay. When we go to the story itself, I will clarify more, okay. Here conflict means what is the problems there, okay, in the story. For example, they were very poor, they had difficult days, okay. Now conflict, that is problem. Climax, okay, very hard situation, tough situation. Resolution, how it was solved finally. And next, write possible moral lesson from the story, if any. If you get moral lesson from it, you can write moral at the end, okay. Start with title, end with moral, okay. That way you can prepare a story. But one thing, when you write title, you don't need to write a title itself, okay. You don't need to write title, title in the beginning, just write title itself, okay. You can see here on the board. When you write title, a lion, suppose a title is a lion, you don't need to write this title, okay. Just write this one, a lion. But when you write moral here, and then you can write what moral do you get from the story, okay. Good. Well, and next thing here, Main story is usually written in the past tense. If you talk about the structure, this should be in past tense and the moral in the present tense. Okay. Main story is here usually written, not always. Sometime we may write in present tense as well, simple present tense as well, but usually once upon a time, long before, when you start this way, it's written in past tense. Okay, good. Well, and now see here, this is the title. Can it be a title for the previous outline, the outline given in your book? Yes, there is story given, outline of the story given, is it? Now the elves and the shoemaker, I have written this title. Is it appropriate? If you find some other suitable title, that is also okay. Okay, now I start writing this way, once upon a time, that way. Okay, here how is it started in the book? A poor shoemaker and his wife. Okay, now how do you start? Once upon a time there was a poor shoemaker, or there was a shoemaker and his wife. They were poor, or how you write? Okay, well, now here I am going to present one sample writing. Okay, you try yourself. Well, you can read this one. Well, here, well, once upon a time there were a shoemaker and his wife. Or you can also start with, once upon a time there was a shoemaker who used to live with his wife, that way also. Okay, they were poor and lived in a small house. The shoemaker had very tough days to earn his daily bread despite his hard work. However, he always dreamed of living happily. One day he ran out of money. He had only one piece of leather to sew shoes. Next day, when he got up in the morning, he found fine pairs of shoes. He was surprised to see this. He sold this pair of shoes in market, and with that money he bought more leather. He cut the leather out to make more pairs and left them on his work table. To his surprise, he found many pairs of shoes next morning. He sold them all and became rich. This continued for some weeks, and with the money he bought a beautiful house for them. Later, the shoemaker and his wife came to know that the elves had been helping them to make the shoes. One day, they made some pairs of beautiful shoes for the elves and left for them. The elves never came back to their house again. Okay, that way story is written. Okay, now what can be the moral, please? Now the shoemaker was, please quickly write the moral. Yes, the shoemaker was hardworking, and hardworking person finally he was rewarded. The elves helped the shoemaker. Okay, well, and what is the moral? What do you think the moral is? What moral lesson do you get from this story? Well, write it at the end. Okay, well, moral: hard-working person gets rewards. Okay, well, this can be moral. Okay, well, you can do it easily, can't you? Good. Okay, now let's see. Now we have just discussed some parameters or some ways of writing stories, haven't we? Well, are these parameters, are these guidelines used here or not? For example, title is written on the top of the page we discussed, didn't we? Is it written? Yes. Okay. Now we should start, generally story is started with once upon a time, once long ago. Is it there? Yes, once upon a time. Okay. There were a shoemaker and his wife. Now character, we introduce the characters and setting and their characteristics, their qualities, their traits we discuss here. They were poor and lived in a small house. Is it so? Good. Now there is conflict here. Problem with them. What is the problem with them? Now the shoemaker had very tough days to earn his daily bread despite his hard work. However, he always dreamed of living happily. Now his dream here is conflict. He is poor, he has a dream. Is it? Okay. Now this makes, okay, story develops ahead. Now what happens then? One day he ran out of money. Is it? Climax is there. He ran out of money. Now he had only one piece of leather to sew shoes. Next day, now here detail of the story is given, isn't it? Now how it is settled, how resolution, how it is taken to conclusion, okay, how is it solved is there at the end. How is it solved? The elves came to help him and then he was helped. As he was poor but hard working, he was rewarded as well. So moral comes at the end. Is it so? Good. Okay, that way we write story. Now let's come to another. B. Task B in writing. What is it? Read the task. Write a story that ends in she finally realized her mistake. Does any story come to your mind? Just think. Think the story that you can end with this sentence. She finally realized her mistake. Is there any story? Okay. If there is the story you have heard, you can write the same. Okay, see here. When you write, use the previous guidelines as far as possible. Okay. And next, you can write any story you have heard or create a story based on your experience. Well, you might have some person in your life who did a mistake in her life and then later she realized. You can write the same story based on your experience. Okay? But don't forget the structure of story. Title, beginning and setting, before setting characters and then detail of the story and finally conclude the story. If there is moral, if you get lesson from that, you can write moral as well. Okay? Well, try well for this. Well, now for this topic, I received this writing from one of my students. Well, she is your friend. Okay? She has submitted it to me and then now I have brought it here. Let's read it what she has written. Okay? Okay. See it here. I'll read. Okay? The title, Desire for a Smartphone. My story. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl in a village. She lived with her parents who were poor. She was obedient to her parents when she was a small girl. When the girl grew up, she fell into a bad company. Her friends were neither good in study nor disciplined. However, they were rich and had their own smartphones and other gadgets. The girl also demanded a smartphone from her parents. She also started complaining unnecessarily on nonsense things when her parents could not fulfill her demand. One day, a man talked to her when she was coming home from school. He asked her about her parents, school, and so on. she told him everything about her. Next day, the man was waiting at the same place while she was coming home from school. He gave her a new mobile set, which made her quite happy. He also promised to take her to a town for a good job. The girl developed a good trust on him. However, after a few days, she came to know that the man had just been arrested by the police for trafficking some girls from nearby village. Now, she finally realized her mistake of choosing bad friends and showing desire for unnecessary things. Now, moral, we should not fall into a bad company. Good story. Isn't it good story? Okay, why don't you give your big hands to her? Okay, good writing, isn't it? Okay, now, okay, moral is also good, isn't it? You can add another moral in her story, that is desire for unnecessary thing. Now, in the same way, you can create your own story. Can you? Great. Okay. You can do it. You can try such other writing at home later. Okay? Good. Now, okay, let's go to listening. Page number 22. Okay? Listening. What is there? A. Listening. Task A. Look at the picture and answer these questions. There are two questions in your book. A. Question A. Who do you think the women in the picture are? Who do you think the women in the picture are? Who do you think these are? Yes? Mother and daughter? Yes? Neighbors? Okay. Whoever do you think you can say, okay? Everyone please try answering them. Answering these questions. Who are they in your opinion? You can say two neighbors. You can say two relatives like mother and daughter or any other thing. Okay? Just guess. Now second question B. What do you think the woman in red sari is asking for? She is asking for something. What is she asking for in your opinion? Yes? In villages, what do you ask for? Well, when you are in need of something and if it is shortage in your house, if there is not in your house, if that thing is not in your house, you go to your neighbors and ask for it, don't you? So, you can say anything you guess, okay, here. Well, may I, she is saying, isn't she? So, may I borrow some sugar? May I borrow some, well, other things. That way she may be asking. Okay. Now, come to this listening in your book. Well, in this listening, you will listen to a conversation between two women. Okay. Well, and after listening to it, you will do one true false item, another short answer questions. Okay. Now, here B, task B is listen to the conversation and write true or false. A, statement A, the two ladies are talking in the afternoon. B, the girl is hungry. C, the girl wants to use the washing machine to wash her clothes. D, she could use the washing machine the day after. And C, another, listen to the conversation again and answer this question. Use one word only. What does the girl look for? Which place is relatively hotter? What clothes does the girl want? And finally, which drawer contains the clothes? Now here in the beginning, just listen to it without considering these questions, okay? Just understand what the conversation is about, who are talking there, just this thing in the first listening. And then we will go to this true false, okay? Ready? Good. Okay. Listen to it.
What's the time? About 11:30?
Really? I'm starving. Can I make myself some breakfast?
Yes, of course you can. Help yourself. You know where everything is.
Thanks.
Is there anything else you need?
Well, all our clothes are absolutely filthy from all the travelling. May I use your washing machine?
Actually, I was just going to put some washing in, but you can use it later if you like.
Great, thanks.
So, what are your plans?
Well, I need to look for a job actually. We spent all our money on the India trip. Oh, it's much colder here than in Delhi. Do you mind if I borrow a jumper?
No, not at all. They're in the bottom drawer in our bedroom. Pick whichever one you like.
Great, thanks a lot. Be back in a minute.
Okay, good. You listen to it. Now, come to true false items. There are some statements, 4 statements. Now, listen to it and find out whether they are true or false. Will you? Okay, let's start. Well, there are 4 statements. I read it before. Read it once again. Okay? Within few seconds. Okay, now listen to the conversation once again and write true or false. Okay? Next to the statement. Okay, start.
What's the time?
About 11:30?
Really? I'm starving. Can I make myself some breakfast?
Yes, of course you can. Help yourself. You know where everything is.
Thanks.
Is there anything else you need?
Well, all our clothes are absolutely filthy from all the travelling. May I use your washing machine?
Actually, I was just going to put some washing in, but you can use it later if you like.
Great, thanks.
So, what are your plans?
Well, I need to look for a job actually. We spent all our money on the India trip. Oh, it's much colder here than in Delhi. Do you mind if I borrow a jumper?
No, not at all. They're in the bottom drawer in our bedroom. Pick whichever one you like.
Great, thanks a lot. Be back in a minute.
Good. You have done, haven't you? Great, great. Well, now let's see what is there, okay? Did you get to the right statements or not? Did you catch that statement, whether these statements are true or false? Related to this statement, did you catch it? Okay, good. Now, here for your feedback, I will play the part of the audio where the statement is there, okay? And find whether it's true or false, and then we will write here, okay? And check your answers as well. Well, now the 2 ladies are talking in the afternoon.
What's the time?
About 11:30?
Well, what she says? What's the time? And then she says about 11:30. Good. 11:30 is afternoon or not? Yes. Is it afternoon? No, it's not afternoon. So it's true or false? False. Good. Has everyone written false? Good. Next, the girl is hungry. Is she hungry? Listen to it again.
I'm starving. Can I make myself some breakfast?
Well, is she hungry? Yes, I'm starving. When you are very hungry, you say what? I'm starving. So it's false or true? True. C. The girl wants to use the washing machine to wash her clothes. True or false? True? Okay, let's listen to it. Listen to the conversation.
Well, all our clothes are absolutely filthy from all the travelling. May I use your washing machine?
Yes, she says, may I use your washing machine? So, this is true. Last one, she could use the washing machine the day after, right? Wrong? Okay, let's listen to it. Listen to the conversation.
May I use your washing machine?
Actually, I was just going to put some washing in, but you can use it later if you like.
Great, thanks.
Okay, you can use it later if you like. Later means the day after? No, so this is false. Good, great. Okay, now you did very great job. Now let's go to another task. C. Listen to the conversation again and answer these questions. Use one word only. What does the girl look for? Just write one word. You do not need to write the sentence itself or more than one word. Okay? Ready? When you get the word, write quickly with pencil you have. Okay? Good. Start. Let's start. Okay.
What's the time?
About 11:30.
Really? I'm starving. Can I make myself some breakfast?
Yes, of course you can. Help yourself. You know where everything is.
Thanks.
Is there anything else you need?
Well, all our clothes are absolutely filthy from all the travelling. May I use your washing machine?
Actually, I was just going to put some washing in. But you can use it later if you like.
Great, thanks.
So, what are your plans?
Well, I need to look for a job actually. We spent all our money on the India trip. Oh, it's much colder here than in Delhi. Do you mind if I borrow a jumper?
No, not at all. They're in the bottom drawer in our bedroom. Pick whichever one you like.
Great, thanks a lot. Be back in a minute.
Okay. Now that is over. Audio sound file is over. Audio is over. Now you might have completed all your work. Have you? Okay, good. Now let's check them whether your answers are correct or not. Okay, probably you have written correctly, haven't you? Yes. Okay, many of you have said yes. Say loudly yes. Good. Now, what does the girl look for? What does she look for? Now, let's check where she talks about it.
So, what are your plans?
Well, I need to look for a job actually. We spent all our money.
Okay. Now, what does the girl look for? A job. Okay. Job. Okay. Which place is relatively hotter? Which is it? Okay, now let's check.
Oh, it's much colder here than in Delhi.
It's much colder here than in Delhi. Means, which is a hotter place? Delhi. Okay. Next, what clothes does the girl want? She asks for one cloth, doesn't she? What is it? Okay, let's check it.
Do you mind if I borrow a jumper?
What is it? Jumper. Is it so? Now, the last question, which drawer contains the clothes? Which drawer? Well, let's check.
They're in the bottom drawer in our bedroom. Pick whichever one you like.
Okay, what is it? Well, that is button drawer. Is it? Button drawer. Well, now you have done very well. Okay. Now, finally, at the end of this listening, there is one more question or one statement. Recall the question you heard on the audio and find who can remember the most. Okay. Question. What question did you hear in the audio? Did you hear any question in the audio? Yes. What are they? Yes, in the beginning. What's the time? Is it so? One of the girls, one of the ladies asks, what's the time? And others, what are they? I'm starving. Can I make my breakfast? She says, doesn't she? Good. Similarly, others. Well, what is another? Is there anything you need? One woman asks. Is there anything you need? Similarly, another. Yes, may I use your washing machine? Is it? Similarly, what do you plan? Well, this way she asks questions, okay? Similarly, finally the girl asks, do you mind if I borrow a jumper? These are some questions. Do you remember them all? Okay, now if you remember, that is great, okay? Now, do you want to check your answer, check whether there are these questions or not? Okay, let's listen to it once again, okay?
What's the time?
About 11:30.
Really? I'm starving. Can I make myself some breakfast?
Yes, of course you can. Help yourself. You know where everything is.
Thanks.
Is there anything else you need?
Well, all our clothes are absolutely filthy from all the travelling. May I use your washing machine?
Actually, I was just going to put some washing in. But you can use it later if you like.
Great, thanks.
So, what are your plans?
Well, I need to look for a job actually. We spent all our money on the India trip. It's much colder here than in Delhi. Do you mind if I borrow a jumper?
No, not at all. They're in the bottom drawer in our bedroom. Pick whichever one you like.
Great, thanks a lot. Be back in a minute.
Okay, did you find 5 or 6 questions? 6, great, 6 questions. Now today in our lesson we practiced some writing stories. Okay, based on that story writing you can practice other stories as well with that guideline. Okay, you have learned it, haven't you? And we practice listening as well. Okay, in our next class we will do further things remaining. Okay, good. Well, till that time, have a good time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.